anyone can create a dynamic neon logo animation in DaVinci Resolve using this simple workflow. It uses way less nodes and effort than the previous method I shared, but the final result looks almost the same. First, drop a Fusion composition on your timeline, right-click it and open in Fusion. Grab a background node and connect it to the media out so we get a clean black canvas. Black works really well here because neon glow pops best against dark backgrounds. Now add a text plus node and type the first few letters of your logo. Load it into the left viewer so you can actually see what you are doing. Pick a bold font, increase the size. At the beginning, the logo should almost fill the entire screen. Choose a bright color that works well for a neon glow look. Under shading, set the appearance to text outline, then increase X softness just a little to soften those sharp edges. Instead of repeating all this work for the other letters, just copy this text plus node and paste it 2 or 3 times into the workspace. Make sure no node is selected when you paste. Now select the second text node and replace the text with the next few letters of your logo. Do the same for the remaining text nodes. Instead of stacking a bunch of merge nodes, we will use a multi-merge, which is really a powerful tool. It works a lot like Merge 3D with those multiple inputs, and you can control each one separately, which is super useful. Connect all your text plus nodes into the white inputs of the multi-merge. Now select background 1 and add a regular merge node right after it. Connect the output of the multi-merge into the green input of that regular merge. At this point, you might notice that the text isn't showing up in the final preview. That's because multi-merge needs a background input to render the other inputs connected to it. So just connect the output of the merge one into the yellow input of the multi-merge, and now everything shows up correctly. Next, select each text node and position the letters properly so the logo reads clearly. Take some time here, make sure the spacing looks even. Now select the multi-merge and add a transform node after it. With the transform node selected, add a soft glow node. Set gain to around 0.8 and glow size to around 35. Then add a flicker addition node after soft glow. Alright, now we are ready to animate. Select the transform node, add frame 0, slightly increase the size and add a keyframe. Jump to frame 90 and reduce the size. This will be the final resting size of the logo. Open the spline editor, enable show only selected tools. Make sure the size parameter is checked. Hit zoom to fit so you can see all keyframes, select them and press S to smooth the motion. You can tweak the handles a bit if you want more control. Now select the flicker addition node, set flicker type to gain, set range to around 0.3, the default speed works fine, increase randomness scale slightly, and increase pause length just a tiny bit. This gives us a realistic neon flicker without manually animating the soft glow node. Next, we will add a soft shadow, like our neon text is hovering over a glossy surface. This shadow should glow, flicker, and scale exactly the same way as the text. Add a new transform node in the workspace. Connect the output of the flicker addition into the yellow input of this transform. With this transform selected, add a Gaussian blur node after it. Then plug the output of the Gaussian blur into the output of the previous merge. Select the second transform, flip the text vertically, then offset it using center Y. Uncheck Use Size and Aspect and reduce the Y size slightly. Now select the Gaussian blur, enable separate horizontal and vertical blur, increase the vertical blur quite a bit, and keep the horizontal blur more subtle. This creates a soft reflection that fades out like it's on a glossy surface. The reflection perfectly mimics the text animation, which makes the effect feel much more realistic. Now, for the final touch. We want letters to turn on and off randomly during the animation, and this really sells the neon effect. So select text 1, go to frame 10, and under shading, set opacity to 0 and add a keyframe. Move 1 frame forward, set opacity to 1. 1 more frame forward, opacity to 0. 1 frame forward, opacity back to 1. Now jump to frame 25 and add a keyframe. Move 2 frames forward and set opacity to 0. 3 frames ahead, set it back to 1. Move to frame 45, add a keyframe. 1 frame forward, set opacity to 0. 1 more frame forward, bring it back to 1. Jump to frame 64 and add a keyframe. 1 frame ahead, set opacity to 0. Move to frame 76, add a keyframe. 1 frame forward, set opacity to 1. 3 frames forward, reduce opacity to 0. 1 frame forward, set it back to 1. Alright, now comes the fun part, reusing these keyframes. Right-click text 1, copy it, Select the second text node, open the shading tab, right-click opacity, choose paste settings. This pastes only the opacity animation. If you play it now, both texts flicker exactly the same, and that doesn't look great. So open the keyframes editor for the second text node and zoom to fit. You will see the keyframes as white vertical lines. Drag this keyframes bar left or right to offset the timing. One thing to keep in mind here, if the text suddenly disappears after a few frames, even though the opacity says 1, don't worry. In the keyframes editor, you will see a number at the right edge of the keyframe bar. That's the last frame where the animation is active. After that, the effect stops. Just drag the keyframe bar to the right to extend it as far as you need. Now repeat the same process for the third text node. Paste the opacity settings, open the keyframes editor, and offset the animation a bit so the flicker feels random. Do the same for the last text node, paste the opacity animation, and shift the timing slightly. Let's play it back. Yeah, that looks solid. Finally, we want the logo to disappear after a few seconds. Select Merge 1, go to frame 130, add a keyframe on Blend, move about 4 frames forward and set Blend to 0. Copy Merge 1, select Merge 2, paste settings on the blend control, and that's it. If this helped you out, consider liking the video and subscribing for more Resolve tutorials.